I finally got around to watching Marvel's Eternals. I'd been putting off watching this movie because I'd heard bad to mixed things about it, so I was like, do I really want to put in some time for it? But I overall enjoyed the movie. Now, it wasn't perfect for sure. I wouldn't say this movie was, like, great, but I wouldn't say it was bad. I'd say it was good. It was decent. I enjoyed the character dynamics. I liked that it wasn't just a straightforward Marvel story. It wasn't confusing, but the storytelling structure was a little different with jumps between the couple days that the action in the present takes place in, and then showing us select scenes from the 7,000 years of history that all of these characters had together. And I thought that for the most part, that structure worked pretty well. Around halfway through the movie, I was like, okay, we're still getting the band back together again, I see. There's a lot of you all, aren't there? But there was no character that I disliked. Now, on the flip side of that, there was no character that I clung to and was like, oh yeah, this is my favorite one. There are characters that I was like, oh, I enjoyed your performance. I enjoyed all of their performances. I enjoyed all of the characters, but there's not one that I'm like, oh, I've got to see more of them, or like, they had my favorite scene. And that, I think, might actually be the overall thing holding this movie back for me, is there's no standout scene or moment or like singular like anything that really makes me go, oh, that was a great action scene, or oh, that character moment was great, or oh, that specific dialogue between them was good. There's no like great scenes. Overall, throughout the whole movie, I was just like, okay, this is pretty good. I will say the first like 25 minutes of the movie, I was in the mindset of, okay, I've heard this is bad, I've heard this is mixed, I'm trying to get that out of my mind, but I can't help but think it, so I wasn't sure, is any of this going to go anywhere that's worthwhile? And it does. It goes places. It took me a while to kind of get into the tone, the groove of this movie, but once I did and I started figuring out, okay, this is what this movie is, I started to enjoy it, because this movie is not like any other Marvel movie that has come before or since it. I would not say, oh, this movie is like the same as Iron Man or Doctor Strange or Shang-Chi or Spider-Man No Way Home. All of those have like a distinct like Marvel comedy feel. I guess Iron Man a little bit less than the rest, but it was the first one. So back to the Eternals. All of our Eternals, I enjoyed them. I think the main problem I have, and this is a minor spoiler, the Deviants, which are the like group of monster things that are that the Eternals are fighting, there was a little bit more complexity given to them than I thought there would be, just based off of, oh, monsters we have to kill. So I'm glad there was that, but for the idea that they put in the Deviants, I thought they didn't explore that as fully as it could, and then they had a better surprise villain at the end of the movie, so I was enjoying that stuff, and then when the Deviants showed up in the final battle, because they had to, that was just a plot thread that was still out there, I was like, oh, yeah, you're still here, that's right. And then they could have made it worthwhile had they really delved into the idea behind the evolution of these Deviants, but they didn't. It was just a slugfest, and then the spoilers, the Deviants lost against the Eternals. But I found the surprise villain stuff to be much more interesting. And I think that's kind of another aspect of this movie. It has a lot of themes, a lot of ideas, a lot of character dynamics, and it does all of them well, but it doesn't go as deep into any of them as it could have, which I guess is to be expected. I mean, there's 10 new characters, all of the Eternals, plus some of their supporting characters, plus the villains, plus like the god that they all serve that created them, that we learned about in a text crawl at the beginning. There's a lot going on, and for all of the things that this movie's juggling, like all of the balls stay up in the air. They just didn't do any cool tricks with them, if that makes sense. I like that metaphor. I like that metaphor. We're gonna stick with it. I think this movie was worthwhile. And I understand why all of these characters were introduced in the same movie. this wouldn't have worked kind of how the Avengers did with like, oh, we'll have an Iron Man movie, then a Captain America movie, then a Hulk movie, then a Thor movie, done in that order, but you get the point. We'll have an individual movie for all of them, then we'll put them together. No, the Eternals share one joint origin story, and it's their different viewpoints on what leads them to become a team of, like, I don't want to spoil things, because I don't know how many people have seen the movie, because, you know, some of the Phase 4 MCU movies haven't been doing as well in the box office, and this one didn't get great reviews, so I waited over a year to see it. So I don't want to spoil things, but the story that was being told necessitated all of them being introduced together so we could get their reactions and the differences of their reactions to what the main plot was. But now that they've all been introduced, and kind of, some of them have been separated by the end of the movie, the ones that live, so I'm excited to see what we might get to see of them going forward, now that we have this base level. Hopefully we'll get some more exploration of these characters. I hope we do get to see more of them. I know this was not the most popular MCU movie, but I thought it was good. I think that the hate against it is a combination of whiny man trolls and white supremacists who are upset that women and people of color are in this movie, and like, what are you gonna do? Those people are assholes, and you can try to ignore them, but they create a lot of noise. And then also, it is not a standard MCU movie, and that's not to say that, like, oh, if you only like standard MCU movies, like, your taste is bad. Like, no, I enjoy all those movies too. This is just not that. So if you're going in expecting that, I could see you being thrown off, and even taking it on its own terms. There's, you know, a lot of ideas and stuff that just might not land with you, and I get that. Again, I don't love this movie, I just liked it more than I thought I would. So that's my thoughts on Marvel Eternals. I checked it out because, you know, Thanksgiving's coming up. This is a large group. I was like, oh, you know, maybe this is a good, like, family Thanksgiving movie. I don't know what a good Thanksgiving movie is, but this is a good family movie. A good, you know, not movie for the whole family. Don't sit your kids down like your 2-year-old in front of this. They're not going to care. But a good movie about a superhero family. Dysfunction and all. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Keep it civil though, and if you're one of those racist man-baby trolls, I don't care about your thoughts, even if you're in denial of being a racist man-baby troll. If you have those comments down below, they'll be deleted, so don't do that. Alright, thanks for watching. Have a good week. Bye-bye!